Hello, hello. Welcome to Rise Up CX Talks. This is the podcast where we discuss ideas and strategies on how to transform experience into business growth. I am your host, Camila Ferreira, an award winning CX leader, an author, long live CX, and I'm also an international speaker. Today, I have the pleasure to welcome Candice McKean. I'm going to tell you, she's an intuitive manifestation coach, a bestseller author, and a TEDx speaker. Wow, just to start with, I can't wait to see and to learn from her all about what she does. So, with no further ado, Candice, please tell the audience who you are and what do you do.
Thank you. I first want to say thank you so much for having me, Camila. This is such an opportunity, and I'm really, really happy to be there. As you said, I'm Candice McKim, and I am an intuitive manifestation coach. But what I do is I help soul-led women in business really manifest their next level in business, their big, audacious dreams with ease and sustainability.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. I can tell you, as an entrepreneur for the past 5 months, I can't wait to learn from you how to manifest all of this. So let's get it started. Let's see what we have for the audience. And the first topic that I have here is actually about manifestation. So you teach manifestation is more than a mindset. And I believe that speaking for myself, once we think about manifestation, mindset is the first connection we make, but in your words actually a methodology. So what does it actually look like in practice for entrepreneurs and leaders who want tangible results like $10,000 in 10 weeks?
Yeah, so many people think that, or we've all heard, right, that manifestation is mindset. But the truth is that our manifestations can get stuck in any area of our life. And it could get stuck in our visions and dreams, and we spend all our time visualizing it, but we don't actually bring it into our present reality. Sometimes our dreams and our visions can get stuck in talking about it. We talk about our dreams, but we don't actually start to take action and do the things that we need to do. Sometimes our manifestations can get stuck in relationships. We never grow our businesses. We never can do our businesses and manifest what we want without affecting other people. And so sometimes we don't hire the person that we need to hire. Sometimes we don't connect with or collaborate with the people that will help us to manifest our dreams and our visions. Even our clients that we want to attract, that's all about relationships. So sometimes our dreams can get stuck there. Sometimes our dreams can get stuck in fear of showing up, doing the stuff to be visible, putting ourselves out there. We're afraid, who do I think I am to put myself out there, or to think that to do this, or to manifest this, or to have this. Sometimes our dreams can get stuck in our creativity and our emotion, our creative energy, or lack of creative energy, or in our emotions and feelings. Who do I think I am? I'm not good enough. And then, of course, then our dreams can get stuck in our limiting beliefs, the beliefs that our family have for us, or our community, or what society thinks that we should do. So it's all of it. And there's often we often have one area that often shuts down our manifestations. So through my methodology, we'll pinpoint what is your typical go-to, like where are your manifestations getting stuck, so that the next time, you'll move through it. So then the next time you're manifesting some big audacious dream, you go, oh, I have a tendency to get my manifestation stuck in this area. And so that's my pattern. So how do I move through that pattern to really manifest what I want? Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. As I was hearing you, I was like kind of correlating to some of the steps I have taken, and you were totally right. Imposter syndrome is something real, particularly among women,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
We always tend to think that we are not good enough. We
Mhm.
always tend to put others' priorities in a higher priority.
Yeah.
And today I was having a conversation with a potential client who really wants to build her business. However, she was like, oh, but what my husband will think about it? What am I going to what a kind of what building my business can drive in his life. And I was like, but what about you?
Mhm.
Right? We're constantly looking or bringing excuses to sustain our decisions of not necessarily living our dream or living our purpose truthfully.
Yeah, yeah. I see this all the time. Um, I used to have my background is I have a degree in social work. Then I became a yoga therapist and a chakra therapist, and I had a yoga studio for 17 years. And then I was invited to be a part of a group to raise, and I was personally invited to raise $20,000 for victims of sex trafficking in India. And so I knew immediately I needed to do this. I knew this was part of my purpose. I need to try to do this. And then that was the first thought. But the second thought was immediately, how is this going to affect my family? How is this going to affect my children? How is this going to affect my husband, my business, my community? And then I heard myself talking to a friend, and I said to her, I just don't want to be on my deathbed and wished I had at least tried to do this. I wasn't a fundraiser. I'd never raised money. Like I thought, how am I going to do it? Like all of those questions, all of those doubts came up. And then when I heard myself say this to my friend, I thought, oh no, I need to step into it. I need to try. And I raised it in 8 months. Like I was one of the first people to raise the money. And then it led me onto so many more opportunities.
Yes.
Like I sold my studio two weeks before I left to go to India. And then I came back from India, and that even was a huge decision. My husband was like, what are you doing? You love teaching yoga. What are you doing? And that was when I realized, when people are asking me those kinds of questions, I know that I'm following my intuition.
Yeah, and it's very interesting what you are saying, because most of times deep inside we know what we want,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But we keep kind of bringing or creating excuses to not follow that intuition or that passion or that motivation because of others, right? So we tend to deprioritize ourselves. That resonates deeply, I can tell you, because for quite some time I had been in corporate for so many years, and I was always thinking, oh, but the day I decide to transition out of corporate, what kind of an impact will it have to my family, to my friend, to my kids, to my husband, and not necessarily thinking of me, of the benefits I would have for that kind of a decision, right? So
Yeah. Because
good.
it's
Let's
scary.
let's dive into the second topic here. So in a world obsessed with hustle culture, your approach is rooted in alignment and energy, which is something that I truly believe. But why do you believe that intuition and energetic clarity are more powerful than pure action when growing a business?
Okay, I could speak for the whole time on this topic because this is a huge topic for me. When I had my yoga studio, people would give me business advice, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I do business like a woman. And so our society really praises, really values that masculine energy of hustle and working harder and pushing yourself. But what it does is it puts us into overwhelm. It puts us into frustration. It pushes us into burnout. When I worked as a social worker, I got burnt out. I will never go back to that again. There is no way. And so it's bringing in the value of the feminine energy and valuing that we get intuitive hits all the time. And when we follow our intuition, I believe our intuition is our soul speaking to us. So, what does our soul want for us in this lifetime? Our soul doesn't want us to push harder and to be burnt out so we don't have any time for our family and to really enjoy our life. Our soul wants us to show up bigger and to not play small and to really bring our purpose out into the world. And so I just believe that once I've experienced this so many times where, I think I'm going to hire somebody to help me take my business to that next level. And it ends up being they want me to push harder or to show up more on Instagram, be more consistent, do more, do more. And the second I go into that energy, my income plummets.
Yes.
This has happened multiple times where I'm, making, six figures, wanting to get to more, like more six figures or
Mm-hmm.
into the seven figures. And the second I start going into that hustle energy, my income drops. And it's
Oh,
like, okay, I got to
absolutely.
go back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a lot to unpack in here. One is as solopreneurs, speaking for myself, right? Coming from corporate, of course, that you have absolutely, not absolutely, but you have certain structure that comes with corporate. And once you are by yourself, first of all, you do own your agenda, but what do you do with that time? And
Yeah.
you start putting a lot. Oh, I need to have, I don't know, the client or the sales funnel. I have to feed the social media. I have to engage. I have to attend events. And all of a sudden, you are what? Overwhelmed,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you are kind of back to an exhaustion that was actually what you were trying to get rid of.
Yes. Yes.
So I think
Exactly.
that what you were saying is truly important. And the second thing is money. Money to me is a flow. If you
Hmm.
get attached to it, it means that you're not going to be moving
Yes.
and you're going to be against the mother nature
Yeah.
because the mother
Absolutely.
nature moves.
Yeah.
The,
Because
the
money is
earth,
energy.
yes,
Yeah, money is energy. The same as, yeah, so we want to align our energy to money or to prosperity or to the clients that we want. This is what I'm talking about, is aligning our energy. And I often think of it as like just plugging in, like you plug into the wall into that energy, right? So you want to take your energy, and I'm going from my heart center, right? And it's like plugging into what it is that I'm attracting, that I want to bring to me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not uncommon in certain conversations that I have with potential clients. They telling me, "Oh, but Cami, what kind of events do you think I should be in? What kind of people do you think I would need to connect?" And say, "It depends.
Yeah.
What are you trying to achieve?" So,
Yes.
first of all, you don't have to be in all the events, be strategic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The best you have, and that's what I believe, it's your inner energy.
Mhm. Yeah,
If
yeah,
this is the best you have, so use this strategically
yeah.
and
And
smart.
also using it as a gauge. So you go to an event, so you think, okay, this is the event that's going to get me, like I'm going to connect to people. And if you leave and you're tired and drained and have a headache, you've given too much of your energy. It didn't feed your energy. And the same with even meeting, when you meet with clients or like on Zoom, or going for coffee with groups of friends. If it's zapping your energy, I call them vampires, right? And they're taking all of your energy. Then it's like, oh no, I need to go fill up my cup. I need to do what brings my energy back up. And then I need to set boundaries.
Absolutely. It's all about exchange. I agree with you. And I have been paying more attention to my own energy and the energy that surrounds me, because even though I don't think that we can control the energy that surrounds us, you can decide where to be, right? So
Yes,
as you said, if I go to an event that is draining my energy, I don't think this is the right place to be. So
no,
even though I cannot change the energy of the environment, I can definitely decide where to be or not to be.
exactly, exactly. And I feel like we can change the environment to some degree, but what is it taking from us? Like how much energy is it costing us to change that
Yes.
environment?
Is it the best return of investment, right? Because if you need to give so much to get a little in return, is
Yeah,
it the best that you can do for you? Not
yeah,
necessarily.
not
Okay, so we
necessarily.
have Stephanie here. Stephanie was a guest on my podcast as well. She's like a woman. Love this. What a compliment. The clarity portion is key. We are so much more purposeful, and the work starts ahead of the curve versus the pushing,
Yes,
right?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, so
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
thank you, Stephanie. You work with a lot of women in business,
Yeah.
right? I'm a businesswoman today. What internal shifts have you seen unlock the greatest external success for your clients, and how do those shifts translate into real income and impact?
Clarity, clarity. So I've been doing this a really long time. You know, I spent decades marrying together talk therapy with body, mind, spirit into a form of intuitive coaching. Even when I worked as a social worker, I used to say to my fellow social workers, I just want to be a counselor for people who don't need counseling. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I want to help people, you know, I want to help people support them in their life and in their businesses. And
Mhm.
so I've been doing this such a long time. And I would say 90% of the clients that come to me, because the first thing I ask is, what would you like? If you could get one gift from a session with me, what would it be? And 90 to 95% of the people say clarity.
Wow.
And so, and especially women, we know what we don't want, but we don't know what we do want. So let me say that again. We're really good at knowing what we don't want. I do not want this. I do not want that. This is not feeling good. This not working for me. But we're not really clear on what we do want, because we've put our visions on the back burners for so many times, like so much of our life, past lives. I believe that we're putting our dreams on the back burner. We're supporting our partners, our children, our grandchildren, like our friends, like we're supporting other people, but we don't really think our visions and our dreams are that important. And so having clarity of what you want and what you're manifesting, what you deeply desire for your life to look like and your business to look like is huge. But then there's different layers of clarity. So there's the clarity of, what is the vision? What is the big vision? What am I
Mhm.
manifesting? But then there's the everyday sitting down at your desk as I call myself a soulpreneur, not a solo, but an SOULpreneur.
Love it.
So as a soulpreneur, when I sit down at my desk, what are my next steps? So having the clarity on all the different levels is huge. It's such a big difference. And I'll share a story with you. It was just last month. I was running a program. It was a 5-week course. And I had somebody sign up. She'd been following my work for a couple years and had never taken any of my courses. So she signed up, and then they got a bonus coaching call with me. So she booked her coaching call right away. And she said, Candace, I wasn't sure how I was going to manifest to pay for your course, but I signed up anyway. And then I immediately manifested the exact amount of money for the course. Somebody hired me to extend their working with me. And I said, that's awesome.
Wow.
3 weeks into the course, she had manifested $42,000, 42K in business. And by now it's been like 5 or 6 weeks. Like the course finished, and it's been a week or two after the course, and she's up to over 70,000 that she's manifested. She said, Candace, I wasn't even sure how I was going to do this, and now I have work scheduled up for until the fall. And so, and what we did on that call is really get clear for her. And she didn't realize, she thought it was going to be more energetics and more alignment, which, yes, there is. But then I also, because I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years, 25 years, I was bringing in the business part of it as well. And she said she didn't realize that I did that I was bringing in, that I have this ability to simplify business strategies and use our alignment and our feminine energy to build our businesses.
Yeah. Wow. What a
Yeah.
great story. And congratulations to you and to your client, because this is
Yeah.
amazing. And I agree with you. I have a mentoring program about executive presence where I mostly work with senior leaders in corporate.
Yeah.
And my very first question is, what is the kind of a leader do you want to be?
Hmm. Yeah.
Most of them answer with titles.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
be a director. I want to be a VP. I said, no, that's not what I'm asking.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
What kind of a leadership do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
We have different types of leaders for different situations. You don't need to be like anyone else. And by the way, this to me is the biggest mistake people can make in life, kind of a moving away from your true self. So,
Yeah.
actually, what are your competencies? What are your strengths? What experiences have shaped your life so far? And how do we help these flourish to shape your leadership? It's the
Yeah.
other way around. But as you were saying, and I was thinking here, yeah, 90 to 95% of the answers that I get when I ask this question is superficial. It's kind
Mm,
of a more material, it's not from within.
right.
It's not
Right.
about the legacy as a leader. And again, for you to be a leader, you don't need to manage people.
No,
That's the
no.
other thing that I tell them. So you can be a kind of a non-leader or recognized leader even by not leading people directly. And the other way around is also true. You may be in a position that you have to lead others, but you don't know how to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or you think you don't know. But if you go inside, then you do know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And wow, that's good to know that you also help your clients with business, because that's the other thing. Sometimes people think about a manifestation, as we were discussing in the first question, as a mindset. And
Yeah.
no, there is a methodology. And you had not only had your own different types of business, but you have been in this journey so long and you have learned so much that you can also help your clients not only with the manifestation, but how to put the business in the right place.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's why you are a TEDx speaker. That you are a bestseller author and all in. But speaking of leadership, right? So
Yeah.
let's connect this to leadership. How does a leader inner alignment shape team performance, client experience, and ultimately loyalty, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it really is about going in, and what does your intuition tell you? Like, yeah, asking yourself, what kind of leader do I want to be? But it is really following our intuitive guidance. And I don't believe for a second that the top leaders in the world are not following their intuition. Like, we think intuition is woo woo and manifestation is woo woo, and I don't buy into that at all. Like, there's no way you can tell me that the top leaders in the world are not following their intuitive guidance. Like when I got the intuitive hit to sell my yoga studio, right? And it was just weeks before I was leaving to go to India, and like I said, my family was all going, "What are you doing? Like, you're only going, my husband, you're only going away for 6 weeks to India. Like, what are you going to do when you get back?" And I'm like, I don't know, but I know I need to do that. I need to follow this intuitive guidance. And there's nothing really wrong with either decision. So I had built a beautiful community, a yoga community. I had a space to teach workshops, to see clients. And yet I got the intuitive hit to sell the studio. And when I did that, though, then it opened up more doors for me, because when I came back from India, that's when I got out. I had been creating a deck of oracle cards while I was teaching yoga. I would get intuitive hits as to what the yoga postures meant on a spiritual level. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to start to edit those cards. And then I knew I had a book. And then, 4 months after my book came out, then I was asked to do a TEDx talk. Like, it all happened very quickly. Then I started traveling around North America, speaking and teaching workshops on intuition and manifestation and purpose. And so there's no right or wrong decision, right? And yet, when you follow your intuition, your soul wants you to go bigger. Your soul wants you to shine
Explain.
brighter,
Yes.
right? And that's what it provided for me by following that intuitive guidance. Then I could lead by example and become the leader in a bigger way, on a more global way, rather than just in my small community. And
Yeah.
so, as I said, I don't believe that leaders are not following their intuition, and that I do believe that they are. But I think for the average leader, especially women, it's really is about sinking in and going, how can I support this situation? How can I outcreate this problem? And how can I keep moving forward?
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's definitely very powerful. Unfortunately, nowadays, um, in this era of social media, we are constantly comparing ourselves to others or to other people that we believe are more successful than us, and not necessarily looking inside, right? So we are very attached or anchors to the outside rather to the inside, and this is such a big trap for you to be truthfully successful, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not by trying to become someone else that is going to make you more successful. It's actually the other way around. It's coming back to your true self.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because we see it as competition. And there is
Yeah.
no competition, because we're all so different. There is no competition. You take
Oh,
two
I love.
people doing the exact same thing, and you might hire this person and I might hire that person. And why? Because it's alignment, it's energy.
Yes, I love. There is absolutely no competition, and unfortunately, at least in my experience, I still think that women compete too much against each other
Yeah.
instead of supporting each other, right? So, of
Yeah.
course, there are reasons for this.
Yeah.
We are mostly surrounded by fewer, or women have fewer opportunities. We have to fight to kind of to have our own space. But one of the things that I believe hold us back to be more successful as a gender in general is that we competing a lot against each other rather than supporting each other, right? So if I got there, instead of pushing other women down, I have to push them along or bring them along with me and let them know what are the steps that I have taken, because this can enlighten their path to be successful as well.
Yeah.
This is something that to me, I have been kind of I have been fighting for bringing more women along, for helping each other, because we don't have that need of competition.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually need to better collaborate and better connect and help each other to be more successful as a group.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, one of my other clients. I invited her to speak on a summit that I was co-facilitating with a couple other women, and she said, "But Candace, we talk about the same thing." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, no, no. There's no competition." Like, she had the word manifestation in her program, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, there's not a problem here." And she said that was just so huge for her that I would invite her to speak on my event,
Yes.
even though we're speaking about the same thing. But she said, okay. And she said that was just such a huge awakening for her, that I was there to support her and I could really support her vision of what she was creating. And though I know it was not at all like mine, even though it sounds the same to the outside, to other people, but I knew we were totally doing different things. And
Absolutely.
yeah, then she signed up for another program, and she said that's what really catapulted her next step, her next vision, and taking her business to that next level, is because she had never been supported by another woman in her vision before as much as I supported. And that's one of the things I do. I see their potential, my clients' potential, I think sometimes better than they see it themselves.
Oh, totally, totally. The
Yeah,
imposter syndrome surrounds us
yeah,
all day long. And these combined with women head to head competition makes it even worse,
yeah,
right? And I
yeah,
hope that we had more situations like you just shared where we are helping each other. Again, even if we do the exact same thing, we're going to execute it differently. And
yeah.
there is a space for absolutely everybody. So, women, come on, we are here to help you. We are here to go with you, right? There is absolutely no competition whatsoever.
There's absolutely no competition, and people are buying and hiring you because of your energy, not because of really what you're doing. And
Oh,
so I'm just going to deviate a little bit here, if I may,
of course.
about watching our energy and how we keep our vibration high. And it's very simple. We're always either in a powerful state of being or we're in a suffering state of being. We're never in both at the same time. So
Okay.
you know yourself, everybody out there listening and watching knows when they're in that suffering state. They know when they're not feeling good. Your energy's low, but it's also you're maybe a little crabby, you're a little frustrated. You might be swearing under your breath about things. You're in a lower vibration. And then
Mhm.
when you're in a higher vibration, when you're feeling good and and so there's nothing wrong with being in either state. And we flip back and forth all day long.
Mhm.
The thing is, though, is that when you're in the higher state, when you're in a more powerful state of being, that's when you're connected to source energy. That's when you're connected to your intuition. That's when you're connected to your creative energy. And like I said, it's okay to be in the other. There's lots to learn in the other state of being, but when you're there, you're not connecting to those sources. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to put on some music. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to talk to a friend, whatever it is, to help you to shift into a more powerful state of being.
Yeah, self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, we do not control the environment, but as you correctly said, we can definitely influence. So if you have your self-awareness and you find yourself in this lower level of energy, boom, what can I do to put me back to the highest level of energy possible? Amazing.
Yeah. And sometimes
Okay.
you don't want to go there. Sometimes I'm like, no, I want to be mad right now for a few more minutes. Thank you very much. Right?
Sure.
I
And
want to vent
Candace,
a little bit more to my sister or whatever it is.
you've mentioned a couple of times in this episode your trip to India.
Yes.
And I want to know a little bit more of how was it and what does it represent? How has it shaped the Candace you are right now after the trip?
Well, so I went to the organizations where the money went, and I started seeing, you know, the 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 girls that were rescued and seeing where the money was going. And it was a huge shift for me. And then what happened is afterwards, I did a divine feminine pilgrimage, and that's what really shifted me. That I went through this pilgrimage and really connected to the divine feminine and really started to explore that part of myself. And travel has always been a huge part of my growth.
Mhm.
I've traveled a lot in my life, and when I look back, I realize I have often been guided, even when I was young, like 18, 20 years old, I was guided to very spiritual places. And my background is I started meditating at 12 years old. My mom and dad were self employed, they were entrepreneurs as well. And my mom was stressed out. So my mom went to the doctor and they prescribed medication for her to help with stress. And she's like,
Mhm.
I can't take this medication. That's not happening. So she took our entire family to learn to meditate. So every Thursday night for 6 months, we went and learned how to meditate. And like I said, I was 12 years old. And then at 16, I became a vegetarian, and just then I became a social worker. And all of my travels, when I look back now, have all guided me to very highly spiritual places. And I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't start it out on purpose. Like,
Mhm.
when I look back, I realize, wow, I've been to some of the most spiritual places on the planet. And all of them have really shaped me with honoring my intuition, connecting to source energy, and really connecting to the divine feminine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. I remember once, yes, I was in my previous marriage, I was depressed with the situation that we were living in. Sometimes you don't find your way out. And I
Yeah.
remember that I went to a doctor and he prescribed medication as well. I was like, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. I need to fix the root cause. I need to have the courage to actually make the decisions I have to make in life and go find my true happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not easy,
Not
but
easy.
that's what actually turn things around. Because otherwise, it's going to be medicine on top of medicine, and you are not fixing the root cause.
No, no. And it's a band-aid, right? It's a quick fix. It's that band-aid.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it's and
Okay,
it's
so
because it's
let's
been
share with
separated.
the audience one first step that they can take today to start manifesting results differently. So we have talked a lot about manifestation. It's not mindset, it's a methodology. You have shared examples from your clients, but if one thing that the audience can start doing today, what would that be?
I think one of the things they could be doing, as I said, is to really connect to what it is that they truly want. And what and there's some shame around that as well. And I think it comes from culture, it comes from religion, that you're not supposed to want, that you're supposed to be happy with the way things are.
Mhm.
And so we get trained that we're supposed to be happy, but so many of us feel like there's more for us out there. We want more in our lives, and it's okay to want more. So the first thing is to really get clear on what that looks like. What is it that you really want? And one of the exercises I get my clients to do is to write down 6 impossible, I'm using air quotes, impossible things before breakfast. It comes from Alice in Wonderland, 6 impossible things before breakfast. And it's not things that you're going to do before breakfast, but
Mhm.
6 things, you write them down before breakfast. You write down 6 things that you think are impossible to have in your life. And do this every day. And it is a huge game changer. The one who manifested the 42K and now almost 70K in less than 2 months, that's what she started doing. It was one of the things, the exercises I teach is to write
Mhm.
it down. And that really made such a difference because we're not dreaming big enough. We're playing
Mhm.
small. And so many women, especially, are not dreaming big enough. So when you think it's an impossible thing, like it used to be on Oprah and right sit on her couch
Right.
and all of that. And it is those things. But writing a book, doing a TEDx talk, whatever it is that you think might be impossible, have fun with it and play with it and put it out there, put it out into the universe. It's huge.
But how do you write that down? So as something that is impossible or something that is possible?
Well, I write it down as I am so happy and grateful for being interviewed by Oprah this year on her, or
Oh, I
being
got you.
interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, or whatever it is. But I always start mine with I am so happy and grateful for, and then what it
Okay.
is that you're happy and
Okay.
grateful
Oh
for
my
having.
goodness. Yes, such a great advice because this is true manifestation. You telling the universe what you are happy and grateful for.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, we are approaching the end, but before that, how can people find you? Social media, so let them know you have so much to share. You have so much to help these women, not only in business but in life. And I really want to make sure they know how to find you.
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube under Candace McKim. I think on Instagram it's Candace McKim _, and it's CandaceMcKim. And then my website is the same, CandaceMcKim.com. And on my website, I have a free gift, and it's a 4-part video series called Realign with Your Vision. And it's a 4-part video series to ask you questions to help you to really move through the ebbs and flows of life and in your business. So if you're in a bit of an ebb, go there and grab that 4-part video series. And then, of course, you can email me at info@CandaceMcKim.com.
Wow, my goodness. I will definitely get the videos for sure. I will make sure that I share the links of your website, LinkedIn, Instagram, with the audience as well. And just for us to wrap things up, Candace, what is the main message that you want to leave with the audience today?
That your intuition is your soul speaking to you, and your soul wants you to dream bigger and to go bigger in your life. That no more playing small. Take the risk, take the challenge, be brave, be bold, be messy, get out there.
Amazing. I am so happy and grateful for having you here today. Thank you so much. It was the best. Thank you for sharing all of this. And it was such a pleasure, not only to meet you, but having had the chance to learn from you. I'll
Yes,
see
thank
you
you.
next time. Thank you so much.